it all comes down to this. It really does. It is Judgment Day this Saturday, because if Alex Pereira loses this fight, what does he do with his career? Does he retire? He might retire. He might just retire completely if he loses to a guy like Ankalaev twice, or he'll move up to heavyweight. I don't really see him staying at light heavyweight, even though it's like the perfect division for him, because there's very few options that he has on the table. Like, who is he going to fight as a contender, and why are you going to even keep fighting when you're 38 years old? Now, light heavyweights can fight a little longer. We've seen this many times, but still, you're not in your prime anymore, and you won't be from here on out. Let's look at the rankings. So, light heavyweight. Do you think that the UFC or anybody wants to see Pereira fight Prochazka again as a contender? I don't want to see that fight. The UFC is never going to do that fight. Or the Khalil Roundtree fight. We're never going to see Pereira versus Roundtree both as contenders after Pereira has lost 2 times in a row. Olberg would get the next title shot, so he's out of the picture. It's going to have to be an up-and-comer. It would probably be the winner of Mirzakhanov versus Rakic. I'm thinking it is Azamat Mirzakhanov that's going to win that fight. So, Pereira versus Mirzakhanov, maybe? It doesn't make sense for him to stay at light heavyweight. The best choice for him would be to retire if he loses. And look, if he wins, if I eat shit and Pereira does beat Ankalaev in the rematch, then he'll fight Olberg. And you know that he will do that fight. That's a very winnable fight for Pereira. Pereira versus Olberg in the beginning of next year, most likely. He's not going to retire if he beats Ankalaev. Now let's talk about heavyweight. Because if Pereira moves up to heavyweight, it'll be similar to when he moved up to light heavyweight and fought Blachowicz after he lost the rematch against Adesanya. They're not going to give him Tom Aspinall right off back-to-back losses. They wouldn't give him Cyril Gane because he's fighting. And we can kind of ignore Volkov and Almeida because they're fighting. Maybe the loser of that fight, which I am thinking it's probably going to be Almeida. I don't want to see Almeida versus Pereira. I really don't want to see that fight. Nobody wants to see that fight. Nobody is hyped up for Jailton Almeida. Okay? It would either be Pavlovich or Curtis Blades. Now, Curtis Blades, I would think, is the easier matchup between these two. Now, I know people are going to be saying, well, Curtis Blades is a wrestler. He's just going to take Pereira down. Yeah, but we haven't really seen Curtis Blades take people down in a while. When's the last time we've seen Curtis Blades utilize wrestling? He didn't do it so much in the Rizvan Kuniev fight. He didn't do it in the Almeida fight, mostly because Almeida was the one to shoot the takedowns. And he tried to take down Pavlovich in the first round, but Pavlovich stuffed it. We haven't seen that dominant wrestling that we used to see many years ago. And also, Curtis Blades. The thing with Blades, all of his losses have come by very big power punchers. Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou, Sergey Pavlovich, these big fucking one-hitter quitters. Pereira at heavyweight would be one of those guys. He wouldn't have to drain him. Even if he fights at 240, 245, he wouldn't have to drain himself. He wouldn't have to worry about the weight cut. He would show up very healthy, very mean. And I do think Pereira has the power to knock out anybody at heavyweight. It's just a question of, can people defend against the striking from Pereira? And I don't think Curtis Blades could. Curtis Blades doesn't have good striking defense. We even saw it with the Kuniev fight. Kuniev was a slobby fat fuck, and he even made Curtis Blades' face all busted up, bleeding everywhere. Pavlovich, I think Pereira loses to Pavlovich. Pavlovich, he's like 6'3", 6'4", so similar size to Pereira's. Well, Pereira's like 6'4" and a half, so he would be taller, but it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter at all. Taller by like an inch. Pavlovich has an 84-inch arm reach. He has orangutan arms, and I know people are saying, well, Pavlovich has passed 2 fights ever since the Aspinall knockout, ever since he got bludgeoned by Volkov, picked apart by Volkov. He's been looking shy. He's been looking timid against Rosenstrike, against Waldo. And that is true. He's not the same guy that was knocking out everybody in the first round. I still think Pereira loses, especially if it's a 3-round fight. Remember, Pavlovich, he has a background in combat sambo. We just haven't really seen so much of it. I don't know what Pereira's going to do. Let's look at some other guys. I mean, dude, heavyweight is so garbage. Like, all these fights down here, they're never going to happen if Pereira moves to heavyweight. It's got to be a top 5 guy. And I think Pavlovich and Blades would love to take those fights, because in their minds, they see Pereira as a beatable guy, especially if he loses twice to Ankalaev, especially if this is the guy that got knocked out at middleweight by lanky, skinny boy, dogfucker Adesanya. Yeah, there's Shamil Gaziev. They do that fight. If he stays at light heavyweight, like I said, Mirzakhanov, I would like to see that fight just to see. I mean, I'm riding too much hype on Mirzakhanov. He has to get through Rakic. Rakic is a tough opponent. Big guy, 6'5", same size as Pereira. Azamat Mirzakhanov is like 5'11". And that's why I'm a big fan of Mirzakhanov. I love these fighters they're like black horses in their division. But yeah, Pereira. Dude, I still remember that knockout like it was yesterday. And look at all the fights he's had since then. That's why I love Pereira as a champion. It was just because he was so active. And Ankalaev, oh man, I'm not going to enjoy his title reign. Of course I'm going to watch his fights because I watch all fights. He's not the same as a champion. Like, if I prefer Pereira as a champion, I do. But unfortunately, I can't pick him for this one. I can't pick Pereira to beat Ankalaev. Now, I created this channel around UFC 317. So I didn't have this channel when the first fight was happening. So you're just going to have to take my word for this. But I did pick Magomed Ankalaev to beat Pereira in the first fight. And I picked Pereira to beat Prochazka twice, Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree, Jan Blachowicz. I picked him to beat Adesanya in the rematch. I got that one wrong. I picked Pereira to win all those fights except for this one. And it's going to be the same thing again. Ankalaev is he's really good. He's really good, and it's weird because he's a Dagestani Muslim that doesn't utilize a lot of wrestling. He's a striker. He's a boxer. Ian Kutelaba. These fights. The Lungi Bula fight. That was the one he head kicked that guy, the African. All these fights. Krylov, Uzdemir, Santos. We can ignore Smith. Blachowicz. It was a draw. Yeah. That was a good fight. Johnny Walker knocked him out. Rakic. I don't remember much of that fight. Not much happened, but he schooled Rakic. And now Pereira, like, come on. I think he's going to knock out Pereira. And that's going to be it for Pereira. Because, look, if Pereira retires, he retires a guy that's made it big. He's already been the champion. He's made so much money. He's tasted the fame. If he loses this one, I don't think he's going to fight again. But if he does, we've already went over his options. So, yeah. That's all I got for you in this video. Peace out. Subscribe to my channel, motherfuckers. I can't wait for UFC 320. We only got a few days left. See you then.